Hello there,
Hi.
guys. Sorry about that. I don't know if you can hear us this time. Tom, can you hear us?
Testing. I can hear you, Matt. I don't know if it's coming through on the YouTube.
I'll have to see. Hello there,
Hi.
guys. Sorry about
Wait,
that.
yes,
I don't know if you can hear
it
us.
is.
Ah, brilliant. We're so sorry about this.
Yeah, there's obviously a bit of a delay. Matt, you're a legend for working hard to try and figure this out. Everyone who is watching, assuming you can see and hear us, apologies, but I think we're almost there.
We're almost there. Tom, are you moving at all on your picture on YouTube? Can you see that?
Oh yes, you're right. Currently, no. That's because I've left the Zoom call. Hang on, bloody hell. One moment. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Oh wait, I think you can just hear me through. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, what have I? Oh wait. Hang on. Did that work? I can see myself on our call, but you're right. It is
Brilliant.
frozen.
There we go. You're moving. You're moving.
Yay!
Yay! Right. Sorry about this, guys. We are finally there. We have sound. We have a moving picture. We are here. So our biggest apologies for all the technical problems. We've been using a tool we're not very familiar, as you can tell with, and but yeah, we finally got it up and running, and our biggest apologies that we have started so late with this. So yeah, really sorry about that. But yeah, welcome to this special Black Friday show where I've got myself here, Matt, from the channel Matt Talks Tech, and we've also got Tom here from the Tech Chap. Welcome,
hey everyone.
Tom. And I'm afraid,
thank you
guys,
for
if
having
you're
me
not
on your
British,
channel.
you're stuck with two British lads, men, whatever you want to call us, chaps. We use very British words here, don't we, for ourselves? But yeah, it's fantastic to have you guys all here with us for this special show. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you guys, or giving our impressions of two phones that we've both been given, to have a bit of a comparison and a review about, and that is the new Xiaomi phones, and that is we've got the trying to get them up here for you guys. Oh, there we go. Tom, you've got them. What? Go on then, Tom. You go ahead.
I've got them both. So I've got let me talk, Matt. You're taking over. So I've got the Xiaomi Mi 10 Lite and also the Mi 10 Pro. These are I've actually reviewed the Pro myself. I was getting confused which one was which there. I've reviewed this on my channel a few weeks ago. I love this thing. I really do. And I think the only reason we've actually decided to talk and do this live stream is because we are big fans of these phones. Not for any other reason that we think they're good value, they're great products, and they do what they say in the tin. I mean, with the Pro here, we've got 108 megapixel camera, a huge battery, 144 hertz screen, quite a smart design, of which you'll notice you can use as a mirror in this particular color. I've also then got the Lite, which is quite a bit cheaper. The quad camera sets up on the back, although it's slightly lower quality than the Pro, and generally just a little bit more of a cut down, more affordable option if you want. I still believe it's 120 hertz, I think it is. I'll have to double check that. I've got so many things happening here. We've been taken a bit off guard. Yeah, 120 hertz, of course, for the Lite. So all good options, all on discounts for Black Friday, although very sadly, my understanding is the 10T Pro, the sale ones have been sold out, but you can still get it regular pricing, except for on 3 and Vodafone, but also other phones.
That's right.
Other Xiaomi phones are still discounted. So yeah, we're just here, Matt and I, to talk about Xiaomi phones.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah, you are right there. The phone is so popular, the Pro, that it's gone already. I can't believe that. That is.
It went before we started this, which is a shame.
How much of a great deal the phone is, and how much you get inside it. I'll be honest with you. I've only had these phones for about 24 hours, but I've had a good mess around with them, and the amount of tech and specs and things that you get inside these phones is incredible. I don't know, Tom, if you know this, but did you know what chipset is inside the Pro?
The Pro has the 865, so that's the current flagship, which is something you'd get on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, or phones that cost twice as much. So yeah, flagship, 5G.
Can't believe it.
It'll run every game flawlessly. And I think, I'm glad you brought that up, Matt, because crucially, you do have that 144 hertz adaptive screen on the Pro. So you do want that power from the chip to be able to push your games. So if you're playing, well, there's only a handful of games that support 120, even fewer that support 144, to be honest. But that will change going forward. And you do, of course, want the best performance to get that highest frame rate to really take advantage of that frame rate, of that refresh rate.
Yeah, definitely. And I've had a bit of a play around with it. I've been playing a game called Raid. Have you heard of Raid?
Yes, yeah. It comes up all the time. I haven't played it personally, but everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, I gave in and had a go on it, and I've tried it on the 144 hertz, and it was spectacular. The animations from all the battles and everything, it was really, really good. And the thing, I don't know about you, the thing what really, really got me is the battery life is superb on this phone, and I think partly the reason for that is because of the size of the battery inside this phone. It's a 5,000 mega amp battery, what is incredible inside it.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, 5,000 milliamps on the Pro, and even the Mi 10T Lite here has, let me get my numbers right, 4820. So there's not really much difference between them. Yeah. Just a little bit under, and actually because this is the light I've got here is a little bit less powerful, 120 hertz as well. You actually might get slightly better battery life from this, but either way, you're quite right in saying that battery life is absolutely one of the selling points of these phones. There's no point having a great screen, great performance if it dies after a couple of hours. So you're pretty set with this.
It is, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And to be deadly honest, even like this one here, the Lite has, I believe it's a Snapdragon 750G inside it. And
still 5G.
Yeah, as you know, as I know, for example, the new Pixel 5 what came out has the 765. Is it 765G? Isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
So it's just ever so slightly smudged forward. To be honest, to everybody who buys this phone, you wouldn't see that difference. It's a blink of an eye. And for example, if I did a comparison here to a Pixel 4a 5G, what has that 765 in it, or for example the Pixel 5 inside it, what you're getting in this phone is incredible, and the price is far less, especially today on Black Friday. This Lite is available, it's still in stock, so do check that out, guys. It is in the description below, so do check that out for the Lite, and it is really, really good value. Like I said, you wouldn't even, I know the 765 is technically tiny bit more faster, but there's nothing in it, and for the amount of money that you're paying for the Lite, it is absolutely incredible, and you get a far bigger screen. You even get 120 hertz. The Pixel 5 only has a 90 hertz display, and this has 120 in a budget phone. What is just completely bonkers, to be honest.
I agree, and I think you're right to say that the Lite is still available on discount, and I think more people should look at this. The Pro is turning out to be very, very popular. It's obviously what they're really pushing with most of their marketing, and that's what everyone's talking about. It's the flagship, the hero. But for most people, I think the Mi 10T or the Mi 10T Lite, like I have here, is kind of all you need. And well, beyond that, to some extent, as you say, 120 hertz, still a really big battery. It's just a little bit. I don't know. I think it's a little bit thinner as well.
It's a bit more thinner, isn't it? I've noticed that.
I think for most people, this is probably a better option. It all depends on your budget, what you want out of your phone. And at least right now, there aren't a ton of games that support 144 hertz adaptive refresh rate. Of course, you will see the slight difference just always on the screen as you're navigating around. But I think for most people, 120 hertz is more than fine, and as you say, well beyond what you get on, say, the Pixel. So do check out the links in the description. We believe the discounted Pro is out of stock, but there are still the T and the T Lite, I believe. Apologies to everyone. We were having a nice chat in the comments before we managed to fix these technical difficulties. My understanding was lots of people came here for some exclusive codes, which I don't believe we have, although I'm sure I'll get a message saying if we do have them, someone will tell us. But we're just here to talk about the phones, answer your questions. We've got your comments on the side here so we can see them live. We're not just rambling. Well, we are rambling, but we can also read your questions. But yeah, so check out the links in Matt's YouTube description if you want to have a read or have a look at the phones as we talk about them. So I guess, Matt, as you say, you've only had a couple of days with them, but what's been like your one sort of hero? What's the one first takeaway, your first impressions of them?
My first big impression has got to be probably the amount of features that you get in the camera software. And I mean, you get absolutely loads of features. I don't know if you've had the same here, Tom, where you go into the camera and you mess around. Like there's an ability, for example, did you ever did you ever go on the clone setting?
No, what's that?
See the clone setting? Oh, that is awesome. So clone setting, what you can do, right, is so for example, you can get somebody else walking along and you can take a picture and then you can get them to do another picture. You can kind of like do like the Beatles image, you know, like on the zebra crossing. So you can have multiple people, same person. You can take a snap, 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 and it will use basically the same background. And you can have multiple shots, and it's absolutely awesome. It's really, really crazy.
That's pretty cool.
As a feature.
First photo, but just takes the subject and keeps the background.
It's really, really good. I can imagine that. Like, so for example, if you go and see a landmark, for example, let's say if you go over to, let's say you go over to France, you go to see the Eiffel Tower, you can basically position 4 Eiffel Towers next to each other if you want.
I wish we could go to the Eiffel Tower right now.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, it'd be really, really good. To be honest, one thing I'd love to do up the Eiffel Tower, and that is with the Pro model. It's definitely used this big snapper, the 100 and is it 108? I was about to say 104.
108 megapixel, which then uses pixel binning to cram, I think, 6 into 1, 9 into 1. I think you come out with 16 megapixel photos. My quick maths is very good.
Sort of slopes them in, but that is really, really good, and I think that is a great thing. What Xiaomi have done here with that. So they've really, I believe, the last Xiaomi I had, I can't remember what it was now. It was about 2 years ago. I had. And the amount of sort of evolution that they've had with their kind of camera technology. I know a lot of manufacturers, I think it was Google who was one of the first to do it with their Pixel line. They started doing that artificial intelligence sort of photo jigging, and then other companies, Samsung caught on, and iPhone caught on, Apple did. Xiaomi have done the same thing, and they've done a really, really good job of it, I do believe, and especially with this 108 megapixel camera. And you're absolutely right there, how it sort of splits out the photos into like a 16 megapixel. It's some really clever tech going on. So like I said, I'd love to, right now, go up the Eiffel Tower, take some shots of Paris. That would be absolutely fantastic, and I bet you the landscape sort of pictures you'd get would be brilliant. And I would just say here, I'll pass it back over to you, Tom, in a second, but one of the other cool features I love about this phone is the ability that you can change scenarios, for example. So for example, say you take a picture in the day, you can actually go into the settings on the phone and kind of make it look like dusk, or you can add a kind of like a sunset in the background on the pictures. I don't know if you've had to play around with that at all.
I haven't. I've just been taking pictures of myself and my neighbour's cat.
But yeah, there's some crazy things you can do with the camera. So yeah, the camera, I really, really do that. And you've got to remember, guys, it's how much this phone is. Even by the way, those features I just spoke about, basically most of them, as far as I know, are on the Lite as well. It's the same software. So in the Lite, you're getting all those extra bits and pieces on this phone, and that is absolutely fantastic. And the price for that is unbelievable.
I think you're right, and it does come back to the pricing, and I think we both agree that Xiaomi definitely has kind of like matured in the last couple of years.
Definitely.
They're sort of coming into the UK now. They've been here for a few years, but now they're really sort of pushing it as a competitor to all the established brands, your iPhones and your Galaxies and things. They're coming in, good value, good products, and they're just offering choice. I've got a bit of Call of Duty loading up here actually, but if we go back to the camera for a second, as you say, there's about 1 billion options. Sorry, I'm
you're having a mess around now, aren't you?
I am. Live is always difficult. There's about 1 billion options. If you go to more
swipe, there's more. If you swipe, there's loads more.
So you can click on 108 megapixels if you want to shoot in a full resolution, which I'm not sure how often you'd want to do that because you lose some of that AI processing and the software enhancements when it combines. But if you want to blow it up to a billboard size, then that high resolution
it gives you that raw, doesn't it? That rawness of the photo.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want that sort of just sharp, natural look and perhaps less of the sort of processing, and for lack of a better word, we've got night modes, panoramas, slow motion, time lapses. You can take pictures of the front and the back at the same time. I'm not sure how many people actually do that, but it's the fact that you do have the option, which I quite like. People use their phones in very different ways. I would describe myself as a power user, but I basically just go between YouTube, Instagram, Call of Duty, and the camera, and a couple of other things. I know lots of other people use their phones differently, so you have that flexibility, you have the options, and crucially, it doesn't cost an absolute fortune. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mi 10T Pro is usually about £600. There's been some really big discounts on Black Friday, which sadly, it seems to be sold out, and it's a little bit frustrating. But it just goes to show how popular they are. Always worth keeping an eye out if they do further deals, maybe around the holidays. I'm not entirely sure what Xiaomi's plans are, but it's very popular. But even for 600 quid, if you consider, say, the Note 20 Ultra is 1100, or the S20 Ultra is like 900, the S20 Plus, sorry. Like, these are all significantly undercutting those big established brands. And we're not here to say one is better than the other necessarily. But, if affordability, value for money, and crucially in this case, the camera, the high refresh, the big battery, the quiet smart design checks the boxes for you, then I think the entire Mi series, whether you want to go for the Lite, the regular T, or the Pro, is definitely worth considering buying.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're absolutely right there for the amount of money. What you're saying, for example, like the Note 20 Ultra. What is that? Is that £1,200 here in the UK, isn't it? If I'm right.
Yeah, about that.
That, 1,250. What about that? It's a lot of money for a phone. And that's what you're just saying. You've got to remember the amount of features you're getting on here. Like the camera. That camera on the Pro version is a very, very similar camera to what you're getting on the Note 20. And you're paying half the price before any Black Friday deals straight away, and that is absolutely crazy. So just remember that. I know it's sold out on Black Friday today, which is a shame, but yeah, it is definitely worth considering. But this Lite phone as well, I love comparing basically the Lite now definitely to the likes of, say, a Pixel 4a or Pixel 4a 5G, because I think that is kind of your kind of competitor kind of phone, or even let's say the OnePlus Nord, for example. That is a very that's from that neck of the woods as well. It's a Chinese phone, and that is a really, really good phone as well. But I would actually say this Mi 10 Pro Lite, not Mi 10, sorry, Mi 10 Mi 10, I can't say it now. Mi 10T Lite. There we go. I actually would say I would pick this over a OnePlus Nord for the amount of features you're getting and for the price. Right now on Black Friday, this is definitely the better handset. You remember, you're getting a bigger screen than the Nord. You're getting a bigger battery life. The processor's about the same, thereabouts. And yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic of a phone. I think the only negative, I'm going to say, and I hate to say it, I don't like to do negatives. We don't like to do negatives.
There's always room for improvement, man.
There's always room for improvement. As much as this design is really, really nice, you can probably see it here. It is a fingerprint magnet on the back. My fingers are just.
What colour do you have there? What flavor?
I've got like a kind of like a dark grey on the Lite, and then I think I've got actually the same colour on my. I think you've got a different colour for me on your Pro. I think you've got like a bit of a purple tint on yours. I haven't got that.
Mirror silver.
Oh, have you got mirror silver? It just looks a bit purpley on your image there, but okay, we've got the same phones then. We've got exactly the same setup. So yeah, look, we can do a reflection of you. Look, there you are on the screen.
You can see exactly what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Look, there we go. It's a mirror. Look, there we go, guys. If this all went wrong, this is what I would have had to do. I would have had to hold the phone like this, so we would have seen Tom and myself here. But if we had never got this live stream working, but to be honest, that mirror look, I do really like it. And the great thing is, as far as I'm aware, because we've only got review copies here, but in the box you do get a case in them.
Oh, that's a good point.
Did you get one? Yes. I didn't get one.
Yeah, I think so.
You got one.
The box is here. Well, let's have a little unboxing. So this is. Oh, you know what? That's a good segue. Stop complaining, Matt. I'm sure you've just
cry in the corner.
You've just not seen it. So these are the boxes for the two phones that I have, the Lite and the Pro. So if we start with the Lite, I've already clearly unboxed the phone, so it's not a proper one. But inside, you looked in this little paper bit, right?
Yeah.
It's in here. You do get a case.
Well, hey!
Look at that.
That is good.
For free. And I would recommend putting a case in it because, well, for me at least, I'm actually quite clumsy, and I often have two phones in my pockets at the same time, so scratching is not ideal. Yeah, and you can still see a bit of the color behind it. It's got nice protection. It's a nice little bonus. While we're here, elsewhere we have the charger. This is a 33-watt fast charger. This is the European plug, which isn't very helpful.
Is this on the Lite you've got?
What's that?
Is that on the Lite, or is that the Pro?
Yeah.
You got a 33-watt charger on the Lite.
Let me read it. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
You made me question myself, but yeah,
Sorry.
man, in very in very small text. Yeah, you get 33-watt charging with the light, and then also a USB-C to USB-A cable. So that is the worst unboxing you've probably ever seen, but that's what you get with the light. And while I'm here, you know what? Let's do the Pro as well. So the Pro is obviously a little bit more expensive, a little bit more premium, and in here, dropping everything as I go. We also get a case, which has a not so subtle Xiaomi mention on it. So I put the case on the phone.
I like that case. Elsewhere, you had on it. I like it how it said the 10T. It had the T on it, the writing on it on the case.
Does it?
Yeah.
It just says, what does it say? It just says Xiaomi on it.
Oh, I like it.
But you got this like two-tone case. So yeah, if you want to rock your Xiaomi, show your friends, then they'll like that. Elsewhere, we have charger again, and I want to read this just to double check.
Check it's different.
This is 33 watts as well.
33 watts, that's still pretty good for what you're getting.
It is. It'll obviously take a little while to charge up the massive batteries, but I think for me, what's more important is actually having a longer battery life.
It is.
I mean, this is still fast charging, but small batteries with super fast charging is fine, but I'd rather just my phone didn't die in the first place. I'm sure you'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So I've actually reviewed the Pro properly, and by the end of a normal day, just in general use, I'm still having about 38-40% of my battery left. So with a bit of rationing, you could easily get 2 full days on that. And actually, I reckon just looking at the specs, you probably get something very similar on the Lite. I don't think you're really compromising going with the Lite over the Pro in terms of battery life, at least. No,
I definitely agree there. Probably because at the end of the day, we've got to remember that Snapdragon 865 is slightly a bit more power hungry, whereas the 750G is a little bit less hungry. So you're right there. With the battery being slightly smaller in the Lite, you're probably going to weigh up. There's going to be minutes in it, isn't there? You can't really compare.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty similar. I'm reading some of your comments there, and it's good to see that so many of you guys are asking us questions, and I'm sorry we're not getting to many of them.
I was going to say we need to because I'll do that as a call out just quickly now. So if you guys have got any questions for us, I know some of you already done that. Please do put them in the chat. We'd love to answer them for you about these 2 brilliant phones, or any other questions. You can do a proper British thing and ask us about the weather if you want.
So to jump through a couple of them, a review clue says, isn't the case antibacterial? It is, yes. Ooh. Actually, and so is the back of the phone on, I believe, the Lite. It may be both. I'll have to double check that, but I've got my notes somewhere. I'll come back on that one. But yes, one of the phones has a antibacterial back on it, and also the case itself is like an antibacterial. So we're not saying that prevents or stops anything nasty, but that's a nice little extra at least. I think it would be good to see if it was more common. One other question that came up was, do you think there's much of a difference between having like a regular, 48, 64 megapixel camera versus like the 108 on the Pro? Have you got much experience of that, Matt?
I think it's more to do with the handling of the software, isn't it?
I agree.
In this day, it is that. What we got to remember, guys. So you have got this 108 megapixel snapper on the Pro, but you got to remember. For example, let's take Google Pixels. They have a 13 megapixel. I think it was 12 point something pixels. Let's say 13. It's close to 13 megapixel. I can't remember the exact amount. Was it 13 point? I don't know. I'm gonna get confused. But they've got that. And then let's take the iPhone, for example. They have a 12 megapixels shooters on them, and yet the photos come out absolutely amazing on that. But then if you compare it to say like the Samsung has this 108 megapixel, they come out absolutely fantastic as well. And I believe it's each to their own. In my opinion, it's each to their own in how they do their kind of artificial intelligence sort of background bits and pieces. For example, I've learned with this with a Samsung, for example, I've always seen you kind of get a bit more extra exposure on the Samsung shots. You get a bit more kind of how can I put it, kind of more of an ambient light on your photos, whereas compared to say like a Pixel, you get much more natural light on a photo like that. but the actual Xiaomi here, so we've been testing out, so the photos I've tested, they've come out probably just slightly stronger than natural. So for example, color tones come out a tiny little bit more vivid, not gonna say as bad as Samsung, because it's each to your own. If you really like those kind of vivid pictures, you know, I definitely say get yourself like a Samsung, because they really do it. But sometimes that's not always the best option. And what I think I love about the Xiaomi phones, what I've learned by taking some pictures on them, is basically, yeah, that AI, what's been going on in the background with that 108 megapixel shooter, and also the kind of standard shooters, the kind of like the 13 megapixel shooters that are on side this phone on the Lite, they are coming out very, very similar. Don't get me wrong, I would say on the Pro, unless you have to put the pictures, if I took the same picture on both phones, put them side by side, you would have to study them to see the difference. But if someone just flicked me a picture on the Lite and then 10 minutes later flicked me a picture on the Pro and then said to me what was the difference, I would probably say I can't tell. It's because of that software engineering going on in the background for both of these phones. And then I don't know, Tom, if you've had some kind of similar experience with Lite and Pro phones, that if you put them side by side, you can see the big difference. But if someone just shows you it off guard, as it were, they look really crisp.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and it's really only when you are looking at them closely, if you're doing a camera comparison side by side, can you tell a big difference between the more affordable and the flagship phones. It also comes down to sort of quality of low light night mode shots, also video stabilization, where it has sort of OIS. I mean, some of the advantages of the Pro is that you can shoot in 8K with this. Yeah. I still don't know how many people really want to do that, but it was basically unlocked by the Snapdragon 865. So these, I know we're jumping around a little bit talking about, you know, performance and cameras and the hardware, but they all kind of work together. And what's interesting is that on the 865 you do have that 8K support, but then that's, you know, rubbish if you haven't got a decent camera module to back it up and fast enough processing and a lot of storage to hold those files. So it's whether you need those flagship features and those value sort of bonuses with higher end phones is up to you, really. It's good to have the option. But I quite like that you do have the ability to, you know, enable HDR on and off, turn the really AI processing on and off. If you don't want a little bit, you know, saturation or sharpness boost, if you don't want that, you can turn it off. If you want to shoot in 4K or 8K or 1080p, you can do that. And of course, you also have to, as I mentioned, the stabilization. You're going to have pretty terrible stabilization at 8K. So almost all the time, I'm just shooting at 4K 30, which is very good, all you need. And probably overkill for a lot of people anyway. But while I'm talking about it, let's just have a quick run through of the actual specs of the Pro's camera. So we've talked about this 108 megapixel camera, which you can see. Yeah, it just dominates the module. It's like a cyclops.
It's like half of the camera module, just one piece, isn't it? It's half of it.
It's beautiful. It really does make you think, like, wow, that's a setup right there. And as well as that, we've got a 13 megapixel ultra wide. Make sure my numbers are right here. A 5 megapixel macro and a where did it go? And something else. Was that it? I'm looking at it. Here we go. The 108 megapixel main, 13 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro. I swear there was a depth or something else as well. My notes are failing me. But anyway,
no, don't worry.
I like the fact that you have that ultra wide. That's all you need. That's all I ever use.
It is really good. And why you just said that, I'll just tell everybody else then. So some of the cameras that you've got on here, you have on the back here, you've got 4 cameras on the Lite, a quad camera setup, and you have a 64 megapixel shooter on this as well. One of the other things that we talked about on this on the camera setup as well is that you've got a macro lens as well, so that's really, really good to get those really close kind of shots on that one. And I believe that macro, if I'm correct, comes in at 2 megapixels. I think you've got a 64, if I'm right here, an 8, a 2, and a 2 megapixel.
That's right.
So you've got
now arguably the 2 and the 2 are a bit, sorry, the macro and the depth are not that useful. It's kind of like they just threw it in because it's not that much more money. You see that on quite a few budget phones or more affordable phones at the moment. But you know, better than nothing, I suppose. But you know, the depth, I think, does also help with better portrait shots. So for, you know, more realistic bokeh. But the macro is it's not the most usable thing in the world. I'm sure you'd agree.
No, definitely. And I think one other feature, I'm just going to step away for camera. One thing I've got to tell everybody, and this is the big thing that's come out in the last 2 years, both of these phones are 5G.
Yes,
so you
a lot
are
of questions
getting,
about that.
especially with the Lite phone that I have right here, I'm flashing it now, there you go. This is, remember, on the Black Friday deals that we've got right now on our page, this is really cheap. I think you can't get for, you know, the saying is bang for your buck, as it were. The amount of features you're getting on this phone, and you're getting 5G connectivity, is absolutely amazing. And just one last thing, guys, if you do buy a phone from Xiaomi's website, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask you a question, Tom, before I say that. How long do you think on average people keep their phones for? I know you and I, it's 2 weeks, but
yeah, for me, I was like 5 minutes.
But how long on average do you think people keep their phones for? Go on, give a guess.
I would guess like probably 2 years is the most common, but I am seeing more and more adverts saying on a 36-month contract. So I think 3 years is becoming a bigger thing.
So basically, I looked at a survey for America, so I don't know about the UK, but on average, people keeping their phones for 2 years, 8 months. Now, it's pretty impressive on average, remember. So there are people like you and I only keep it for like 10 minutes, and then there's the people who keep theirs for like 5 years until it literally dies. You know, but on average, it's 2 years, 8 months. But if you are one of those people who keeps it for that long, I've got really good news. Xiaomi are actually saying we're giving you a 3-year warranty with our phones. What is really impressive, to be honest.
It just says something about their confidence in the products, I think.
It is, yeah.
If they were all going to break after 5 minutes, then they wouldn't make any money if they had to keep replacing it. That's like a show of confidence in the reliability of their products. Because there are some misconceptions still about the quality of Chinese brands, but I think they've proved themselves in the last few years that they are as good as, if not better than, a lot of homegrown or US competitors. And what is so good about what we get to do is we get to try all of them, and then we get to talk to you guys about it to give you our experience. And quite honestly, whether something is sponsored or not, we wouldn't talk about a bad phone.
No.
And we wouldn't encourage people to check out a phone that we wouldn't recommend to our friends or our family ourselves. It would go against what we do. And what your thoughts about us and our integrity is absolutely paramount. So while we're happy to sit down with Xiaomi today and talk about these phones, the only reason we're doing it is because we think they're bloody good and crucially good value. As you say, 5G on both of them, including the Lite. I still don't think 5G is a must-have. I still think while it's
coming,
it's coming. But I think on a budget phone, if I could maybe spend 30 quid less and not have 5G, I would probably do that. But it's nice that you have it.
It is. It's definitely a nice to have. I'm just looking at some of the questions here. One of the questions that's come along, I think it's from Adil Khan, and he says, "What do we think about the LCD displays on these phones?"
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a very good question, because yes, a lot of the top range phones have AMOLED displays or OLED displays. There's so many variants of that name, isn't it? OLED, AMOLED, but basically so many different variations of that name. But these actually have your traditional kind of your liquid crystal displays, as it were. Call it old school, call it not old school, but I'll be deadly honest, I don't know about you, Tom, they've been fantastic. Did you know, I didn't actually know they had IPS screens, okay?
Yes, so that's right. So you can have crappy old LCD screens, which we all hate from a few years ago, but now, sorry, my front door's gone, but my partner will get that.
No worries.
But I'll just
my clock chimed a minute ago, so don't worry, because it just struck one.
So you've had the rubbish old LCDs, but now you have IPS LCDs, which are actually very good quality and really do go toe-to-toe with OLEDs and AMOLEDs. There is still a difference, I would say, in terms of response time. So while you can have high refresh rate phones, if they are LCD like these Xiaomi ones are, then you will see occasionally a bit of ghosting if it's a very fast-moving object. Pretty rare. It's not something I've really seen in person, but technically that's a possibility and an advantage of an OLED screen. And of course, the contrast ratio isn't quite the same. You're not going to get those infinite, deep, inky blacks that you would on an OLED. But honestly, the only time I've seen that is the black bars when you're watching a video. Actual content, once it's lit and there's colors and it's moving, you'd have to have them side by side and really sort of examine it.
It's like those photos,
isn't it? Sort of thing, but Sorry, I'm rabbiting.
No. I was going to say, it's just like taking those photos we were saying earlier between the Lite and the Pro. You'd have to put them side by side. You're not going to see. And to be honest, I didn't notice. I think it was the same reason what you just said there, Tom. I didn't actually notice because I wasn't actually told these had IPS screens in them and LCD screens in there.
Well, consider that
I started playing
last year's iPhone 11,
the
they still one was still LCD as well, and so there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I think in the tech community we can get really wrapped up in specs and it's not got OLED, so you shouldn't buy it. It's not true at all.
Well, I think an interesting fact there, just to add on there, was that remember, guys, the Lite is 120 hertz, and then the Pro is 144, and this is on an LCD screen as well, so it's amazing for it. You could argue, you know, what would you like? I guess when Xiaomi were making these phones, you had the choice. You have a 60 hertz, probably AMO LED we could buy, or we could put in 120 or 144 LCD panel in this. And I
know what I would choose. Every day I go for the high refresh. You see it
same.
All use cases. You see that extra smoothness. It would be nice to have AMOLED, but that would cost more.
Yeah.
Everything is a cost benefit. I would 100% take the high refresh over the OLED.
Correct. I highly agree there.
You do the same?
Yeah, I would definitely. I prefer the higher refresh rate. I remember getting a TV recently. I changed it. We got a new TV. And basically I had an old 4K one and it ran at 60 hertz, and now we've got a 4K at 120 hertz. And gosh, it looks like it is a new TV, but it really looks like I've stepped into another generation again. And I don't know if any of you guys out there on the chat right now, let us know actually if you've got a 120 hertz phone or a 60 hertz display. Let us know and tell us if you've seen a difference between them, because we'd love to know if you agree or you disagree. We'd love to know. Put that in the chat. But from my opinion as well, I see a massive difference in that smoothness, menus flicking around, opening, scrolling through web pages. It's hard, I'd say, to say. I think you've done the same, Tom. When you show 120 hertz or 144 hertz or even 90 hertz on a review video and say, oh yes, it's much more snappier, it's hard to show that. It's until you have.
Well, it's impossible because YouTube caps at 60.
Yeah, exactly.
We just can't show this.
Do it.
It's so frustrating. We've look how fast it is.
It is, isn't it? No, it's not. Yeah. It looks no different. What are you talking about? And it's not until they do like a slow-mo, you know, so you can see like a thing scrolling. But honestly, guys, if you get a 120 hertz in your hand or more, or even 90, you can see a difference there. You will see a massive difference, and it is unbelievable to have that. So yeah, I totally agree that having a higher refresh rate over an AMO LED, I definitely pick that.
If I can jump in, Matt, what I like, I'm just going to bring up the Pro here. So this is in the display settings. Yeah. And again, you're not going to be able to see this or tell the difference in this 30 FPS video. Really, you're in fact, you can't even see. You won't see this. This is a completely pointless exercise, so you have to take my word for it. But not only does this give you an indicator of how the different smoothness levels look, but you can also adjust it. So if you're not that bothered about 144 and battery life is more important to you, but you want a little bit of smoothing, then you can still go for 90 hertz, which is what you have on, as you said, the Google Pixels, the Huawei Mate 40 Pro, and the P40 Pro. So that is still a flagship refresh rate, and you can adjust it on the fly if you like. So honestly, most games are still 60. Some are 90. There's more and more coming at R120, and there's a handful at R144. But I think just because battery life is more important to me as a bit of a power user, I would normally keep this on 90. But I love that you have the option, and it does show you the difference. And if actually I do the same thing on the Mi 10 Lite, so you can come with me here.
Yeah.
So if we go into the, where are we? Display settings on here, and then refresh rate. So here we've just got 60 and 120, although they are adaptive sync refresh rates. So I think they can vary based on what you're looking at. But again, you still have the option here on the Lite. This is the Lite phone, which costs how much again?
100, no, is it 100? I can't remember now myself. Yeah, I've gone
200 and something.
So the Mi 10 Lite
I'm putting you on the spot there.
Yeah, it's 179 pounds right now.
That's insane.
I know.
I mean, look at it.
It's just, for what you're getting for £179, guys. It's absolutely crazy on the Lite. Oh, I'm holding up a Pro here, so sorry, my mistake. On the Lite, yep. It's absolutely crazy. 120 hertz choice on that. That is, and a 3-year warranty. A great snapper. You know, you've got a 64 megapixel main camera on here. You've got wide, ultra wide. It is absolutely. Oh, don't take a picture of me.
Oh, I'm actually looking at me. This is behind the scenes of the workings here. You've got me on a Zoom call, and then me watching a catch-up version of
yourself on the thing.
It's a hodgepodge setup.
Quick question for you, actually, Tom. I don't know, because you got it in boxed, okay? One of the questions that came along from, I think it was from Andrea 0105, and she said, does a screen protector come on these phones already pre-installed? I got review copies, so I wasn't sure. So I've got a screen protector on my phone, but I'm not sure if that was already applied on it. But you got yours out the box.
Yes. Mi 10, I can confirm because I've just accidentally slightly peeled it off, but that did require me to do it with my fingernail. Yes, Mi 10 Lite has a screen protector built in, and as does, the Pro does as well. So confirmed, both phones that I have here have a very nice screen protector on there, which is a lifesaver. And you can, if you have to, if you scratch it up, you can, of course, always take it off, reapply them. It's a bit of a pain, but I'd rather that than not have it and scratch the screen. But so they both do have that.
Yeah, brilliant.
They also both have stereo speakers, I believe.
They do, yes.
Which is, again, a compromise you often see on these more affordable phones. And it's the worst thing ever if you're watching a YouTube video, if you're catching up with Matt Talks Tech YouTube, his latest videos, and it's just blasting out of one side of the phone, or you're playing a game and it's just coming out of one side. Most of the time you'd want to use headphones, that's fair, but I just for sort of quality of life usability stuff, having dual speakers so it's coming out both sides is so nice. And again, on both the Lite, the T and the Pro, so stereo speakers and everything, 5G stereo speakers, quad lens setups, huge batteries. I know we're going over and over on this, mainly because it's supposed to be a 2-hour stream, and that's going to happen. There's only so much you can talk about in 2 hours. But it all comes back to being good value for money, and of course even better today with those Black Friday discounts, particularly on the Lite. It's so ridiculously cheap. Like, I think if any of my friends asked what they should buy,
I'm just going to translate that for a few of you guys. So if you're from other countries, for example in Europe, in fact I'm just going to do a quick thing on my computer here, a currency check. So £179 in euros is let me just have a quick look for you. £179, that is just under €200, guys, for this phone, for the Lite. So for this one right here, that is incredible value. So yeah, in the UK we're getting it for £179 on Black Friday today, but in Europe it's just under €200, and that is how much great value this phone really is. I'm just also going to shout out here, guys, we've been running a bit now, so if you have joined us recently, my name's Matt from the channel Matt Talks Tech, and here we've also got Tom with us, and Tom's from the Tech Chap channel.
I don't think I even introduced myself when we started this. I think we just went straight in.
Yeah, we did, kind of sort of thing. And we're both today talking to you guys about the new Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro. I'll get the right phone up. And then the Mi 10T Lite as well. I can't get it on my picture. There we go. I'm holding them up now correctly. And we're talking to you about these phones and how much fantastic value both of these handsets are right now. Now, I will say this, we are sad to say that the Pro version, one of the phones we've been talking about, is out of stock on Black Friday. The deal that we had, it's so popular and it's so good that it's out there. But the Lite, one of the phones that we're talking about, well, it's still in stock right now. And in fact, one of our guys on here, Adil Khan, has already ordered one. So whoop whoop for you for ordering that.
Good man.
It's £179.
I should say you can still buy. Sorry, you can still buy the Pro, just unfortunately not on that Black Friday deal. But if you go to Xiaomi's website, if you just want one now, you can still buy one.
And to be deadly honest with that, it's still fantastic value. We were just talking about the Pro having basically the leading Qualcomm chipset inside it right now. what is the 865 inside. And then on top of that as well, you're getting one of a similar camera sort of snapper, what you get like on a Note 20 Pro right now, 108 megapixel camera. You're also getting 144 hertz refresh rate, looks incredible. And all of this only costs you £600. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, it's 5G, and you also get 5,000 mega amp battery, and also you get a 3-year warranty. In fact, I just can't, there's loads to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about, but it is milliamp, Matt. I have to correct you. It's milliamp, not mega amp.
No, it's a milliamp. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, not mega amp, milliamp. Sorry. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, one feature someone has asked about actually is how about security on these phones? Well, I don't know about you, Tom, but I've noticed as well. Both of these phones have a fingerprint unlocker, don't they?
Yes, and interestingly, both. Well, sorry, the Lite at least I've got here is a side reader as opposed to the in-screen reader, which I'm perfectly okay with. A lot of people think, well, if it hasn't got optical in-screen, then it's not as good. But because of the placement of it, when you pick your phone up, your thumb is generally here anyway, and then just a couple of seconds later, like you just saw there, it unlocks it. So yeah, I don't mind the side fingerprint reader on the Lite, and then on the Pro. Well, sorry, that's on the Pro as well. So actually,
you got it on both?
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, the weird thing is that I really don't mind it, and some people, as I say, think it's a compromise. I like it.
Yeah,
it's fast and reliable, and that's all you want from. Well, let's do a test.
Yeah,
let's see if there's any difference between. Actually, that's not going to work because they've registered the same finger. But let's do best of 5. Let's see how many times and how quickly this opens up. 1.
Wow. Off.
2. 3. Oh, missed that one up. 4. It's my own finger. Pretty good there, and actually it was because I was holding it backwards in a weird way. That didn't help.
But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I think the security on that. So you've got those fingerprint scanner. I think there is a face unlock feature as well, I believe.
Yes, I think there is. Let me jump into the settings if you want to keep talking for a second and have a little look.
I think there is a face unlock feature.
Yeah, face unlock on both. So I'm in the this is the Pro here. You've got face unlock on as well. So actually, this is generally how I would use it. And then if it requires me to pay for something, or if it can't see me because I've got a mask on walking out and about, then I'll use the side fingerprint reader as well. I'll double check on the Lite if I can do that. Bear with me. Passwords and security. Yep, face locking as well on the 10.
Brilliant. That is really, really good. I was going to ask you about, what do you think about the Mi, can't say it now, the MIUI OS basically?
I like it. I think in the past I haven't liked it. I think Xiaomi's UI in the past has been kind of cartoony, a little bit cluttered, not the fastest, but they've gone so far in the last couple of years that this, for me, is absolutely fine. It's as good as, well, it's on a similar level, I'd say, as even Samsung's One UI.
It is.
You still have a ton of options. In fact, if I just go, you'll see here, I'm in the settings menu. You've got your Mi account, you've got your different accounts. You can go to, where is it, additional settings. You've just got so much you can play with. You can customize the look of it. You can also, of course, add your own themes on top if you want, your own launchers. But for me, it's fast, it's lightweight. I like it. What do you think?
I think, do you know what my favorite feature is actually? Is the ability, if you pull down here, is the notification bar thing. This is similar to the control center. Well, yeah, the control center on what's it called?
On iPhone.
On iPhone, and I like it. It's really clean and sharp. I like it that you don't have to. So some phones you have to double pull down, don't you, to get all your settings.
That's a very good point.
And you don't. It just works straight away. Yeah.
And you've got little bouncy animations, and but just, I mean, this is the Lite, and if I just
same here. I've got
actually you'll see
the
that.
Pro, sorry.
It's quite a different recently used apps gallery as well. You actually have to swipe down, but which is, well, the subjective difference. But you've got a bunch of different options at the top for cleaning it, sorting it. These are all the apps I've got open in the background. It's just smooth and slick. And when you do pair that with the chips inside here, which are pretty powerful, and of course also the higher refresh rate, whole thing just feels really slick. I love it. I genuinely do.
Yeah, definitely. I guess one of the other
And
questions...
you've also... Oh, sorry, please.
I was going to say, one of the other questions to do with that Android operating system is the amount of RAM what's in these machines. We've had a question about that. How much do we get? And with the Lite, it depends on which version you pick, if I'm right here. So there's two options. So there's an option where you can get 128 gigabytes, and that comes with 6 gigs of RAM. And then if you pick the 256 gigabyte storage space option, you get 8 gigs of RAM on the Lite. And to be honest, that is more than enough. I know a lot of people going, well, you've got the Note 20 Ultra, you've got the OnePluses that are coming with 12 gigabytes of RAM inside them. You do, but remember, it's all about how the software's been redefined and how it all works with that Android OS. And I'm not getting any lag on this software. I don't know about you, Tom. It's super fast. I think I've got the baseline 128, 6 gigabyte Lite here, and it's snappy as.
Same. Yeah, absolutely. And Android 10.
Yeah.
You'll probably get Android 11 not too long. So yeah, this is the specs page of the Lite. So you've got 6 gigs of RAM in this one, the octa-core Snapdragon processor, and if I jump back to the About Phone page, you can see.
I like that, the storage thing. The bubble floats around, doesn't it? Have you seen that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's using the accelerometer actually.
Inside. Yeah, it's brilliant. I like that. Yeah, drink your storage up. Yeah.
So this is the drink my storage. So this is the Lite. This is the Pro. Same thing. I do quite like that little effect. So I've got 256 gigs of storage on the Pro, obviously the Snapdragon 865, and 8 gigs of RAM. The main difference between the standards, we haven't talked about this much, the regular Xiaomi Mi 10T and the Pro is the Pro has an extra couple of gigs of RAM, 8 versus 6, and also a slightly better camera setup. So that's the main difference between the mid-range T, 10T, the Pro, and then below that, which we also have here, the Lite, just takes it a step down further in terms of storage. 64 gigs of storage, slightly lower processor, but of course a lot more affordable price. So whatever your budget is, there's something for you, which is quite nice.
It is. We've had another question here, and I actually have done this test. It's from David Farr, and he asked, how about call quality on the loudspeaker and normal calls? This is always left out in reviews, and I think you're right there. I think most recently when I've done reviews, I've actually forgotten. Actually, yeah, this is a phone. Let's talk about the phone bit of the phone.
I never talk about that.
Yeah, why we talk about what? Yeah, it makes calls, whatever. Yeah, but yeah. I have actually done a test. I put my SIM card in it, and I did actually do a 5-minute call to my mum last night. As you do.
How is your mum?
Sorry, how is? Well, she's lovely, thank you. She's enjoying her time in lockdown. Yes.
Oh.
So.
Hi, Matt's mum.
Hi, yeah. Oh, I don't know if she's watching. She might be. I don't know. If you're there, mum, hi. But yeah. So basically, I gave her a call. And it came out really, really crisp. And sure enough, as David Farr was asking here, I had to step away and put it on loudspeaker. And it came out, I think I had it on about 3/4 volume. I didn't turn it right up, and that was loud. The loudspeakers on here, you've probably done the same test, Tom. You've done the test on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus, where you play a video, it comes out loud. The speakers are sharp. I would say I've heard sharper speakers, definitely.
Yeah, they can get a little bit distorted if you really put the volume right to the max, but
that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But generally in normal use, I've got one of my videos I posted yesterday playing here, and I was listening to this earlier because that's all I do. I watch myself back.
You love yourself that much.
I love myself that much. I'm like the Donald Trump of YouTube. But it does sound really good, and you're never really going to want to whack the volume to a maximum level anyway. It's too loud, and you'd annoy everyone around you. Put a pair of headphones on, but most of the time it's absolutely fine. And you can see we actually also have this 20:9 aspect ratio, which is pretty common now. So you do have slight pillar boxing out of the side, but you get this nice sort of, it's just taller display. So was it a 6.68 inch screen?
6.8, yeah, 6.67
inch.
6.67.
Yeah, it's also full HD plus, so it's not quad HD plus. So we have said how this compares favorably in terms of value for money to something like the Note 20 Ultra, but I don't think they're really putting this against that. I mean, LCD screen and the resolution's a little bit lower as well. So it's not quite in that same ballpark. I would say this is like high-level, mid-level flagship, and that would be high-level flagship. But it's also half the price of that, and I don't think those extra features are necessarily worth paying twice as much for. You can get two of these for the same price almost as a Note, which is pretty crazy. And one thing that I think is worth remembering, that if you do have your phone for a couple of years, don't forget, if you're only going to pay, I don't know, 180, 200 pounds for your phone, even if it doesn't have the most future-proof specs, and if it's not going to be, you know, the best thing in the entire world in 5 years' time, because it's so cheap, you could essentially buy a Mi 10T Lite. You could probably buy them once a year for 5 or 6 years for just the same price as one, say, Note 20 Ultra now. So you could continually refresh for a very low cost your sort of more affordable mid-range phone, and then I think after a year you'll probably be ahead of what that flagship was the year before. So that's an interesting way of looking at it. If you're happy
that's a very good comparison, yeah.
You know, upgrade regularly but don't want to pay a lot, then get a cheaper phone more regularly.
The other thing you've just got to throw into the mixer, I cannot see this phone right now on Black Friday, it's £180, and let's say in a year from now you traded it in, I can't see them giving you £2 for it. They would. I
think the depreciation would be a lot less than a
It would be. So, for example, I don't know if you've seen the same, like a Samsung, the Note 20 Ultra. It's £1,250 or something here in the UK, and then and that was when it came out in August. Now, if you were to pick it up second hand, if you were to sell it, they're already. I think it's already like £800. Or something like 850. You've lost 400 quid. It's gone. You know, that is two of these light phones already in that space of time. In what's that? 3 months. That is absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's unbelievable that you can do it for that much. And like I said, you would get quite a bit money back on like the light phone. Like I said, if you bought 180 today, I can't guarantee the amount, but I would still say you'd probably still be in the hundreds or the 100 range in a year from now. And so if you went to bought the next year's model again on Black Friday for £180 again or £200, you know, I know it's going to say you've only lost, but you would have lost, let's say worst case scenario, you would have lost £80 or £100, whereas compared to like that Samsung we just talked about, the Note 20 Ultra, you've already lost £400 in 3 months. So it's amazing value, so and what you're getting is
it depreciates less.
It's absolutely unbelievable.
So if I can jump in, Matt, there's a question here again from Review Clue, who's actually been sticking with us this whole time. Thank you very much for that. I'm sorry, no, he was answering David Farr's question about the front cameras. So on the Mi 10 Lite, which I have here, the selfie camera is we got a 13 megapixel f2.45 camera.
I thought it was a 16 on the
Pro. It's 20. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Is it 16 on the Lite?
It's a 16 on the front. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. What did I say?
13, but don't worry, you were close.
Oh.
You weren't like 20 16, megapixels out, you're only 3 out, that's fine.
Thank you for correcting me. Yes, you're absolutely right. 16 megapixels on the Lite. I'm sure there was a Xiaomi representative watching there, shaking his fist at the screen there. 16 megapixels on the Lite, but 20 on the Pro. So one other slight advantage of the Pro is you do have a slightly higher resolution front-facing camera, which is also an f2.2 aperture versus the f2.45 on the Lite. So it lets a little bit more light in. So if you're taking a bunch of selfies with your friends, well, maybe not your friends because we're not allowed to see anyone at the moment.
No. Great for Zoom.
The front camera. Well, yes, then you'd zoom like this, I suppose. And actually, you could use your phone as a camera if you wanted to hook it up to your computer as well. I'm sure there is software that lets you do that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the camera module, both the front setup and the rear selfie is a little bit better on the Pro over the other lineup, if that's important to you, and hopefully answers your question, David. And Matt, again, thank you for correcting me on that.
No, sorry. I hate correcting people.
No, please. I have got things wrong in the past. It's happened. I'm not perfect.
Don't worry.
Let's have a quick look at other questions here. So waterproofing from Neil Henderson. To my knowledge, I don't believe either have an official IP rating, but they do have a kind of splash-proof coating.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't take them in the shower with me necessarily.
No.
I don't think I'd take any phone in the shower with me. That'd be a bit weird. But I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine if you're using it if it's raining and you've got it in the kitchen and something splashes on it. So I would say that They are kind of like a basic splash proof, but we don't have a full water resistance. So don't go swimming with them.
No, definitely don't go jumping in the pool with them.
And speaking of protections, we do also have Gorilla Glass 5 on the Pro, which is it's not the most recent one, but it's still pretty good. And if I actually jump back to the, I want to make sure I get this right. Jump back to the. So I'm trying to.
I was just going to say quickly, while you're looking at that, we've had some people already on the chat have said they've already ordered their new phone. What is absolutely fantastic. They've ordered the MT 10T Lite. I can't say it now. yeah, Mi 10T Lite. So yeah, they've already ordered them. That is absolutely fantastic, guys. I'm sure you're going to love your experience with your phones. Like I said, you're getting that 3-year warranty as well, what is mind-boggling for a budget phone. That's really, really great value what you're going to get.
Jumping back onto that, I found out that actually both phones have Gorilla Glass 5, and that is something that you don't get very often on more affordable phones like this. They're usually just cheap plastic horribleness, but even on the Mi 10T Lite here, we do have Gorilla Glass 5 on the back. You can, of course, still put the case on it, which you get in the box. You get a case with both phones in the box, as you can see, so you might want to protect it even further, but it's good that we do have that Gorilla Glass even on the back. And it just makes it feel, albeit a bit of a fingerprint magnet, as you mentioned earlier, it makes it feel a little bit more premium, a little bit more sort of well-made. So even for this sub £200 phone on the discount, it feels so much higher end than that. I think if you give it to anyone, they'd probably think it was worth £300 or £400.
They would, yeah.
It's so nice.
I think just one last thing to another question that's come up recently is obviously the size of those batteries. Like we said, you've got a 4,820 on the Lite, and then you've got a 5,000 on here. Well, and one question that's come towards us is, what about wireless charging? And I'm going to say this now, both the phones don't have that. But there again, you know, you could argue that by taking out that wireless charging capability, they managed to cram in a slightly larger battery into these phones to give it a bit more space. And if it was up to me, if I had a choice between wireless charging or a bigger battery, I think you're going to agree with me, Tom, the bigger battery, definitely.
I mean, the thing about wireless charging, I'm testing the iPhone 12 Pro Max at the moment, and I've got the MagSafe.
Oh, the MagSafe. I've got one of them as well. Yeah.
And I understand. I think I understand the concept of wireless charging, but you're still essentially putting it on something that is plugged in, and so I still have to take it off something in the morning, which and the motion of pulling it off a wireless charger as opposed to pulling out a cable.
Well, what's so much in it, is there?
There's not much in it. So
no.
I know some people like to have wireless chargers at their desk, so they can have it topped up during the day. I understand that, and I guess it's nice to have, but for me, it's definitely not a deal breaker not having wireless charging.
It's not something you have to have, and like that is, we're both agreeing here. We would definitely trade. If the iPhone, I'm not going to go too much details because we're not talking about iPhone 12, but the battery life on the iPhone 12 is actually worse in quite a lot of scenarios than the 11 that came out last year, and I think it's because of that MagSafe charger. And it just proves the point that you will make you bring in this kind of type of technology. New technology like this, you're going to have to make sacrifices, and this is something that Xiaomi have not done, and I think they've done the right move here by packing in a bigger battery into their phones and not going off for that kind of trade-off for a new technology. And I think the argument would be actually saying that if they were to put in a wireless charger into these phones, it probably would cost more than how much if they could chuck in an extra 1,000 milliamp. There you go, said it correctly that time. Milliamp battery inside it, and I think that's a really good trade-off what Xiaomi have done actually here.
Yeah, it is all about trade-offs. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect phone, and if there was, it would be £1 million, and no one would be able to buy it. So,
it'd be out of date
it's kind of so it's an academic thing really. But in terms of the battery, I mean, they've crammed in the absolute biggest they can into the form factor. I mean, I think the Pro is about 9mm thick, so it's very thin for having a 5,000 milliamp hour cell in this, and really it's just loads of physics. They probably can't cram anything bigger in there as much as they'd like to, while also having room for the camera module. I'm still seeing a couple of questions here about the fingerprint reader again.
I just saw them as well, yeah.
Both extremely fast, so I'll do a quick demo on both. So this is the 10T Pro, and it's just fast as anything. This is where your finger basically sits anyway when you pick up a phone on the right side, or if you obviously are left-handed, you could put your index finger as the one that you register, and then same again on the standard. The Mi 10T Lite.
I was gonna say, how's the reach for you? How does it feel where the button is? Does it feel comfortable where the reach for the button is in your hand?
They are big phones. They are both quite big phones, and because we have that taller 20:9 aspect ratio, they are quite tall phones. But the reach for me is good. It's just below the volume rocker. So if I bring this right in on the right side of the phone, you can see we've got the volume rocker here, and then this power button that doubles as a fingerprint reader. It's the exact same setup on the Pro, slightly different finish and color, but you can see you've got this flat power button here. So if I were just to pick it up, I'm not sure how I demonstrate that in midair, but if I just if I pick it up normally, basically my finger is almost exactly over it anyway. That's just how I would use it. I don't have especially big hands, but yeah, it's been perfectly comfortable for me. And I think, I'm not sure about you, Matt, I would rather have a side fingerprint reader that just rests there than have to cram my one of my thumb down to hit an optical reader at an angle down here.
Wonky, yeah.
I've never liked an optical reader in any flagship phone that has a reader, ultrasonic or optical. I always want to rely on the face unlocking then, because I just think it's such a pain in the backside to actually awkwardly get your finger there.
I think the other argument we could put on there is that I say with the ones that are built into the screen, I've always found that if you put a screen protector on them, depending on what screen protector you put on it, it might not even work, and it doesn't work as well. And
That's true.
I'm definitely a big fan of having them on the side here. Like, I remember going back in the day to like old Samsungs, like the Galaxy S6 or the S7, and they used to have the button at the bottom. They had a physical button.
I remember, or even, of course, the old iPhones, or even the new iPhone SE2 has it.
Yeah, it does. Still. And it's you can get to it, but there's nothing like it than having it on the side or on the back, I'd say, because that is where your hand sits. Look, if I'm holding this phone up, you can see here, just like what Tom was doing, my thumb is on the button perfectly. Or, you know, if we look at the back, if they did put the button there, like some other phones like the Pixel have, my finger is in the right place as well. It's just natural. It's hard to get my thumb down there, isn't it? I actually have to readjust my grip to get it where the thumb would be. So I think it's a cool feature having it in the screen, but it goes back to the point: is it necessary? Now, one thing I just want to talk about as well quickly. I don't know if you know this, Tom, but do you know the Lite? There was one feature on the Lite what beats the Pro.
Ooh.
And I'm going to give you a massive clue.
I have the spec sheets for both, so I should know. No.
I'm going to give you a massive clue, okay?
Okay.
Turn the phones upside down at the bottom.
You're right.
There is one feature on the Lite what the Pro does not have.
Why haven't we mentioned this? We're about an hour into this.
I know, yeah. Can you guess what it is? Let's see. We've got one guess. What is it?
I think it's a headphone jack.
It is a headphone jack. So the Lite, there we go. The Lite does have a headphone jack. So
I want to apologise to all our viewers that we didn't mention that at all in the last hour. But yes, you're absolutely right, and that's something that I think a lot of people who do want cheaper phones or more affordable phones want, because they perhaps don't have a high-end or new pair of Bluetooth or wireless headphones that they can plug in any headphone into your headphone jack. So the Pro doesn't have that. I don't believe the standard regular Mi 10T has it either. It is essentially, as you say, Matt, an exclusive feature of the Lite. So if you've got a good pair wired headphones, then you can use that jack.
Yeah, it's
I missed the jack.
But I don't know about you, but I still actually I've got my wires up. I see them in your ears at the moment. You've got your AirPods Pros in at the moment.
They are only yes.
Don't worry.
Yes, they are.
But I've got AirPod Pros as well. But I still do use here and there. I still use some wired ones for occasional on some bits and pieces. So it's really, really good that you don't have to. If you're buying a budget phone, you're not going to want to be spending loads more money out on buying all these extra bits and pieces. Let's take a look at the iPhone. What a disgrace this year. Here's the phone. Here's a cable. Where's the charger? Oh no, don't worry about that. You'll have to. You can buy one from us, or you can buy one from somewhere else, but we're not putting it in the packaging. But then that's kind of, well, if I'm going to buy myself a more powerful one to meet the wattage demand of this phone, I'm going to have to buy that, and that will come in packaging. I'm not going to go into it. But the point is, there's been sacrifices along the way a lot of manufacturers have done, and a lot of other companies have copied traits and things. And a lot of you guys out there, and I can understand that, where you're buying yourself a budget phone, you've got headphones, wired headphones, they work perfectly. Why should I have to go out now and buy myself a USB-C to 3.5 adapter so I can't even charge my phone whilst I'm using it? I just want some headphones, a socket. I want that. So it's really, really good that the Lite does have that headphone jack at the bottom. So yeah, really pleased about it. And then also at the same time,
it's good to see.
You still got that battery, that big battery inside this phone as well. So if you've got your headphone thing, it does come up a fair bit into the phone. So that is really, really good. And
I was going to say, like, to have this much room taken up by the headphone jack, but still have a 4820 milliamp hour battery in there is crazy. Just to answer a couple of questions I'm seeing in the chat. In terms of screen brightness, I believe they both peak at around sort of 500 nits of brightness, but they can go up to about 600 nits or so in HDR because they both do support HDR10. So if you're watching YouTube videos or any content that supports that, then you can get some high dynamic range out of it. It won't be quite as eye-searingly bright as a super high-end as a phone that has a brighter screen necessarily, but you do have that, and it's absolutely fine. I've used this. It's actually a nice day today, so it's the first time in a long time here in England, and I used it earlier this morning, and it was no problem at all using it in bright sunlight, either phone, the Pro or the Lite. And also, there's another question here. They both have NFC, so I use it myself as well for Google Pay, and also just quickly connecting devices together. So yes, both phones have NFC, which is great to see. And
I guess one question what has been asked is, can we make a smaller, like Samsung One UI, you've got the software's been built to reach for your fingers, or for example the iPhone, you can shrink down the screen. I don't believe the phones have them, unless you found it, Tom.
I'm going to have a look. Let me have a look. Let's do it live. We've got time.
I was going to say, yeah, we've still got 20 minutes. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, is it there? I couldn't find it. Yep. Oh, so there is a one-handed mode, guys. So that's fantastic. So if you guys don't like reaching up to the very top of the phone, you can do that. Is there a quick option to turn that on, Tom?
I just typed one-handed into the settings menu. From what I can see, it's not immediately in the drop-down bar.
I had a look
probably
at
that as a shortcut.
I had a look. That's what you might have just seen me looking down at my phone. That's what I was looking for myself. I couldn't see it there straight away. But the ability that
if you were, go on, as you say.
The ability is there.
Sorry,
so if you did want to shrink things down, you can find it. So yeah, it's really good.
It's not something I tend to do a lot, but
I'm used to full screen. But yeah, it's a good question. I'm sorry that we don't have a quick answer. I bet there, if you good old Google, I bet you there is a way to probably do it quickly. To do that, so yeah, have a quick look, and I'm sure there is. And if there is a way, actually tell us in the chat. We'd love to know, actually, and we might be able to demo it to you. Otherwise, we'll just be sitting here, be really bored, and typing, just be like this, typing on our phones. Where is that setting? Where is that setting? So yeah, we don't want to really.
That does show that as there are a million options on these phones, some of them may be a little bit hidden in the options menu, but just use the search bar in the settings, and you can find pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Should we circle back to battery life just for a second, in case there's new people who have joined us? So both the phones we have here, the Mi 10T Lite and the Pro, have come with 33-watt fast chargers. This is the European plug, which, as I mentioned earlier, isn't very handy in the UK. But 33-watt fast charging. The battery on the where is it gone? I've got so much going on here. It's somewhere. On the Lite is a 4820 milliamp hour cell, and it's 5,000 on the Pro. So absolutely stonking big batteries, which are going to give you at the very minimum a day and a half of use. If you ration it slightly, you can get 2 days of use out of this, which is absolutely something you want if you're going to be gaming on it, if you're going to be using it as a power user, you're going out to take advantage of the fantastic cameras, and you're just shooting 4K video, even 8K video on the Pro. So having that battery is just such a reassurance that you don't have to kind of adjust how you want to use your phone because you're worried it might die by the end of the day. As you mentioned, it doesn't support wireless charging, but that's not the end of the world, I don't think.
Bigger battery,
but you do get that
instead
fast
of wireless,
charging.
Any day at all on that one, definitely.
Yeah.
One of the other questions, I don't know about you, when I was playing gaming on it, was the actual battery, or the actual phone, was it starting to get hot? For me, it got warm. I played a bit of Raid on it.
Yes, I've found the Pro has got quite warm.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I played Raid on the Lite, to be honest, just to see how it was going on there. I did try Raid on it. I installed it and tested, but proper having a good session for an hour or so, I was doing it on the Lite. I think it's just because it was in my hand at the time. But that got warm. It didn't. I wouldn't say it was like couldn't touch it, or I can't put my hand near that place for like a minute, and it will start.
Yeah, it's not hot at all. Just a bit warm.
It's got some good cooling in these phones. I would say it's up there with most other smartphones out there in how cool they get. The ones that where they don't go uber hot at all. They go warm because that's what most things will always do. You're not going to have it going freezing cold. And and I didn't see any kind of throttling either when I was playing the game. So a lot of it, if you guys don't know what throttling is, it basically means if the processor inside, like the Snapdragons inside these phones, get too hot because they're being overworked, what starts to happen is automatically the speed, the gigahertz or megahertz or whatever you want to do, kind of sort of reducing down, and basically that means then the game or whatever you're trying to do starts to get a little bit more stuttery, or maybe loading times take a bit more time because it's trying to cool down the processor whilst trying to do what you're asking it to do. And I didn't notice any of that. I saw no throttling when I was playing. I don't know about you, Tom, if you've opened up multiple apps at one go on both of these phones, and again, I didn't find any slowback, like especially on the Lite. We keep banging on about this Lite. Remember, guys, it's £179 right now, Black Friday, and it comes with 6 gigabytes of RAM and the Snapdragon 750G. And I've had
5G,
about, probably said I had about 15 apps open in the background, and I'm normally bad with it. I did it on purpose. I only normally have 2 open and close them down. But I had 15 apps open at one time, and it wasn't getting hot, it wasn't warm, and I wasn't finding any slowdown. So for a budget phone for $179.99, that is absolutely spot on what you can get for this. I don't know about you, Tom. Did you find any problems with opening up loads of apps at the same time? Or
no,
anything?
not at all. And even just, and as you mentioned, just having the extra RAM helps to have more apps available to jump back into. So you can go into your recently used apps, swipe down, go straight into one of the other games or apps, and it's still there, ready to go. You don't have to relaunch it. That is the main advantage of RAM. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't quite realize, is that you look at the specs and you think, okay, it's got this Snapdragon chip, it's got X amount of RAM, but what does that really mean? Well, the RAM is mainly used for a lot of reasons, and it helps the whole phone be smooth. But one of the advantages of having more RAM is that it can store more apps in its cache. So when you do go back to it, you can then get straight into the action. You don't have to refresh the whole phone. So no, to your question, I've not experienced any slowdowns whatsoever on either phone, which is a testament to the software and the hardware. But if I can just jump in quickly, you know how you're telling me that the Lite has this big exclusive selling point of the headphone jack, which you are right about. But I have just discovered in my earlier unboxing that the Pro comes with a USB-C to 3.5mm adapter. So don't worry, folks. You can still go for the 10T or the Pro, and well, you will have to live that dongle life, which looks a little bit sad. That's something off-putting about that. You can plug in your headphones to the USB-C port on the bottom, 3.5mm jack. So yes, built into the Lite, but you do have this bundled in the box with the Pro if you want.
That is fantastic. And remember, guys, we keep banging on about this. So don't worry that, what happens if I need to charge at the same time? Well, the battery is huge in the Pro, so because of that, I don't think you're really going to come across many, unless I hate to say it's your own fault that you've left your battery get down to 10%, and then you go, I want to jam some of my music, and I want to charge at the same time. I hate to say, you've got yourself into that situation there. But generally, if you've got like a 50% battery. As Tom said earlier, right near the beginning of this chat, what we're doing with you guys is you used it for the Pro for the whole. I've only had it for 24 hours, these phones, but you used the Pro for a full day, and you properly used it as well. You test it to them, taken lots of pictures, videos, and everything. You did a review on your channel as well.
I've got a full review. If you want to, if you're not sick of our voices by the end of this, you can
go check out Tom's review.
To my channel on the Tech Chap. I've got my Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro review there. I spent a good week with it, so you can well, watch even more of me. I don't know why you'd want to after this.
Oh, definitely. And but you said that even by the end of that day, after messing around, filming your footage of that phone, you still had like about 40% battery, didn't you? Or 30.
Yeah, it absolutely gets you to a full end of the day, and at least half of the, excuse me, at least half of the next one. And it's you just don't get that kind of battery life in a lot of other phones, including iPhones and some of the most expensive phones out there. It does seem to be a trend that brands they're clearly understanding what people want out of their phones, and they know they want good cameras, long battery life, nice designs, and you know, both of these tick all those boxes, and especially the Pro with that higher quality camera setup. But yeah, battery life is just not something you have to even think about, which is exactly how it should be.
It's brilliant. It is absolutely fantastic. And to be deadly honest, just to say though, when Tom did his review as well, I've checked out your review, Tom. I had a look at it.
Hope you liked and subscribed as well.
Sorry?
Did you like and subscribe?
I did like and subscribe. I did actually. Well, to be honest, I've been a subscriber of you before I even started out on YouTube myself.
Oh, thank you very much.
So that's why I probably don't appear on your list, because you know it shows you your nearest people, you know, who joined. So when I probably joined you, I probably had no subscribers.
So what made you start YouTube, Matt?
Sorry?
What made you start YouTube?
What's made me start YouTube? It was basically, I think it was everybody getting fed up with me, around me, talking about tech all the time. I hate to say it. And it was like, why don't you just go and do that on YouTube? Or why don't you go and express yourself on there? So I'll be deadly honest, I started my channel last year.
And you're at almost 100k, which is crazy growth.
Well, there's a bit more to the story than that. So I started it last year, and what it is, but now we're going a little bit of a sidetrack here. I love phones and things. I love mobile, like yourself. We're big, massive fans of it. But what I also did, like, I love Macs computers, Apple Mac computers. You know, and earlier shows a proper testament of how well I could use an Apple Mac computer by using OBS with an Apple Mac. You know, I'm an expert, as you saw when this chat started. Because it was a complete disaster. So again, my apologies for the guys who joined us then. But going back to the point, sorry, I'm going on rambling here. So I started making videos about Macs and about old Macs, and how the older Macs, you could upgrade the technology inside and change the hard drive, change it, and I started making videos about that. And I kind of abandoned it because it didn't get me far with YouTube. And suddenly I just left it. I did videos from about May last year to about June, July, abandoned it completely, and basically came back to YouTube about April this year, May time this year, and suddenly realized, oh, I've got 950 subscribers. And then basically from March this year all the way up to now, I've been making videos. So yeah, I've grown from basically 1,000 subscribers to 94,000 in. It's
fantastic.
In I don't know how many months, but
that's awesome.
Must be saying something right. But
yeah,
yourself,
keep it up. There's always room for more.
Thanks, Tom. I really appreciate that. But yourself, Tom, you've been doing how long? How long have you been doing making channels and videos now?
It's about 5 years for me. It's about 5 years for me, and I'm just plugging away. I should, fingers crossed, hit 1 million subscribers by the end of the year.
Congratulations! Get that
which
plaque.
Yeah, that's the only reason I do it.
The gold plaque.
But it's absolutely phenomenal, and just being able to talk to yourself, other creators, and then being able to share our experiences of what really is just a hobby for us. We love playing with tech and phones like this. It's such a dream that we can do this, and then have some fun with it. But then we can also give some actual buying advice to you guys, and also just some sort of consumer experience. Because we only have, I think, about 8 minutes left of this live stream. If you have been watching this the whole time, then well, I do question your priorities. I wish I had your
especially at this time of the day as well. Yeah.
Get back to work.
You must be furloughed.
No, but if you have, Yeah, absolutely. But no, I appreciate all of you who have been watching this and sticking with us, even with some technical difficulties at the
first
start.
20 minutes. Sorry about that.
That's not your fault. Well, I mean, it is your fault, but
it was, yeah.
You know, it's OBS's fault. To answer a couple of questions that have come in. So, in terms of David Farr asked about the shutter speed on the Pro of the camera. Now, that is something that I noticed, but was not significantly worse than another phone. So shutter speed is basically, if I, let's say, bring up my my mug here.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how I would do this. If I then rotate the phone. So the shutter speed is how quickly it takes the picture. Well, that's not great. I've got a timer on. That's why it takes 3 seconds. But it's how quickly it snaps the picture from when you press the shutter button. So it depends on lighting. It all comes down to lighting. The more light you have, the faster it will capture it, and the more likely your subject will be in focus. Lower light, a little bit slower. I would say it's probably not the fastest out there, and that's possibly also down to the resolution, having that higher 108 megapixel resolution, albeit via pixel binning. I don't want to get too technical there, but that could be an effect of that. I don't think anyone is saying that the Mi 10T Pro or any Xiaomi phone has the best camera in the entire world. You have to look at it.
Doing a good job of it.
It's done a very good job of it. More than a very good job of it, and crucially for good value for money. It doesn't cost an absolute fortune, which I think is the big takeaway from that, really. So shutter speed is not something I've noticed to be a problem. I don't think it's as fast as some other phones out there, but again, given the price of this, I think that's absolutely fine. Another question from RTJ47. The 64 gig version seems like a better deal than 128, but I'm worried about future proofing. I'm not sure what you think about this, Matt. For me, I think it depends how you use it, but I think I would go 128.
Especially if you're going to keep it for, let's say, we talked about earlier, the average of 2 years, 8 months, or 3 years, I would have it. So
yeah,
most likely, I don't know, I can't look into my crystal ball of Xiaomi, but I would predict that probably budget phones next year, more than not, would have 128 gigs built in.
Yeah,
so if you are,
I think so.
If you've right now got, say, 30 gigs out of your 64 right now used, and that's all your photos that you've had over the years and everything, and you're going to be keeping this phone for a year or 18 months, and maybe next Black Friday, if we do this again, basically, nice. You decide to get the next one, and that has 128 gigabytes, you're going to be fine, I think, because the amount of photos that you've done in that time to what you're doing now, I think you're going to be fine. If you're going to do, like,
and the size of games are only going to get bigger as games get more powerful. As phones get more powerful, developers put more time into it. So games and apps will probably just get bigger as well. So I would agree with you. I would say if you can go 128, 64 is absolutely fine. And if you're going to have it for a year or 2, then that's fine. But if you're thinking of having it for 3 or 4 years, then or longer, then yes, I would go 128.
Definitely. I've just seen another question which just come in, and it is something we haven't addressed, is do the phones have external storage on them?
Look, great minds. I've just, as I was
you're getting the pin out ready for that, ready?
My SIM card ejector here. So let's have a look. So this is the Pro, and if I zoom in, I just said if I zoom in, and that's literally my face.
I think they can take dual SIM.
This is the SIM card for the Pro, dual SIM.
Yeah.
Which is great to see. Dual 5G SIM, although you can only have one data 5G SIM card at a time, but sadly no expandable storage on the Pro, although in this model I've got 256 gigs, so I don't think I really need to.
You can check it again, but I'm quite sure the Lite doesn't have it either.
I will double check because I think you're right, but let's have a quick look. So live SIM ejecting here. Wait, Matt, you were wrong.
Was I wrong? I thought they didn't.
You were wrong. Look at that.
Yes, I'm wrong. Shame on me. It does. Look at that. That is the perfect size for a micro SD. So yes, people. In fact, here we go. We have 2 features on the Lite what crush the Pro, and that is we have a micro SD slot, so you can put an extra storage on your Lite. This makes the Lite even better again. It makes it a brilliant deal. Yeah. And then you've also got the 3.5. I'll show it on my one because I know Tom's putting his phone back together. It's got the 3.5 jack on the bottom as well for your wired headphones over the Pro. So you can expand your storage on the Lite but you can't on your Pro. But sorry about that, I was wrong about the Lite. Shame on me.
I got the megapixel. You corrected me with the megapixel earlier. This is what happens when you talk live and you're juggling about a million things. We're looking at our notes,
aren't we, all the time? Like, what do we have to talk about next? So
yeah. So as you say, it's good that the Lite does have a couple of. It's not that it's just a worse phone; it's a different phone. And if you want that headphone jack, if you want that expandable storage, and for a more affordable price, then the Lite is definitely worth going. I want to just bring up one of your commenters here, Matt, who said that I look like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. He's not wrong about that. I've heard that before, though my wife tells me it's not true.
You do actually.
Thanks. If I wore a short sleeve shirt or a long sleeve shirt. I'm sorry?
Are you in your spot?
Oh, I am. This is my spot. Yeah, and after this, I'm going to film an episode of Fun with Flags as well.
Yeah, Fun with Flags.
So thank you for that, Matt's commenter viewer person, people. It's true though, I do a little bit. Discounts. Should we round up with discounts before we end?
I was going to say I was just going to quickly say to everybody going, check out the Black Friday deals we've got below, in the description. And yeah, so right now one of the best buys that we've been talking about is the Lite version of this phone, and I'll just show it to you guys again. This is the Lite version, and yeah, the Lite comes at £179, which is absolutely incredible right now on Black Friday. For you're getting a 750G processor in this, 6 gigs of RAM. We've checked it out, that is more than enough on these phones. You also get a fantastic 64 megapixel camera, wide angle one. You've also got ultra wide, you've also got a macro, you've got a depth one, you've got flash. It's a fantastic setup. At the same time as well, you've also still got the Pro as well. Right now, I'm afraid, because the Pro was so popular, the Black Friday deal did run out, but it is still available on Xiaomi's website right now to buy. And yeah, it's costing £600 here in the UK to buy this, and you're getting the same processor what you get in the new Galaxy Note 20 Ultra inside it. You're getting 144 hertz refresh rate as well, a massive 5000 milliamp battery. There's just so much we could talk about, and even on the Lite you're getting 120 hertz refresh rate. It's just incredible, the value you're getting for these phones. And I think right now, and I think Tom, I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, but for Black Friday these two phones are probably the best deals you could probably get today, aren't they?
Well, I'm looking out for some cheaper kitchen appliances later, but I think that's probably a different category.
For mobile phones.
In terms of mobile phones, I absolutely agree with you. And I think we came into this kind of disappointed that we couldn't offer the Pro discount anymore because it was sold out. But coming out of it, I'm just more and more sold on the Lite.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one to go for most people. But check them all out, I reckon. Is that our time, Matt? Are they kicking us off? I think that is. And I'm just gonna put on that fact though, what you're saying about the Lite. Everybody thinks that you must get the best, and you must always get the Pro. But sometimes the mid-rangers do the tricks that you want to do. I don't know about you, Tom, but I make videos for all ranges. I make pros and mid-rangers. And I'm going to be honest, I do get more views on my Pro phones, but I am a bit sad because the mid-rangers don't... Are the ones people buy.
Yeah, don't underestimate them. They are fantastic phones. And the Mi Lite here just demos that right here, what you're getting for your money on this phone. But
yeah, and I'm glad we could do this, and we've, in Matt's description below this video you're watching, he's put links to all these phones, the Black Friday discounts, and also their websites if you just want to find out more, if they have sold out, which I think a couple of them have. But do let us know if you've got any other questions in the comments of his video. We'll continue to have a look at that afterwards, and also tweet us. I'm at the Tech Chap. Matt, you haven't even got Twitter, have you? What's going on?
Wait, sorry? Do
you have Twitter?
I don't know. Well, like I said, it was one thing. It's been because it's been an overlaunch of getting the channel set up. It's something to do at Christmas.
Yeah,
I need to get my Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah.
Someone's also told me to get a Discord server. I was like, oh gosh. So yeah, I'm looking to get more social media bits and pieces set up over the next couple of months. But no, Tom, you've got loads. I think you've got Instagram, you've got Twitter, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've got
the big three: YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram for me. All just at the Tech Chap.
Just
talking about tech.
Just think of any social media platform, type in the Tech Chap, you'll find him.
Yeah, you might not like it, but you'll find me.
You'll find him. He'll be after you. Sheldon Cooper will be after you.
On that note, I'm off.
Brilliant. Well, Tom, thank you so much for your time, and also big thanks to everybody in your chat for your questions and sticking around. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this, so it's a massive big appreciation to you guys for joining in on this chat. And yeah, we will be catching up with you guys real soon.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank
Take
you,
care, guys.
See you later, guys. Bye bye.